And without further ado, spawning in the bottom right position of the map, give it up for our blue Protoss player. He is Trap. And his opponent, over here in the top left position, give it up for MARU. And this is going to be an excellent series out of these two. I think Trap has really defined himself as the Protoss to be in the last year. He is the one who has held down the fort versus the Terran scum. We have seen a lot of Terrans just have their way with so many helpless Protoss players in so many different spheres, from top tier tournaments down to the very bottom of the show match circuit. And you can kind of see right now, Trap is a little bit worried about our friend MARU, because he is searching absolutely everywhere looking for that potential proxy location. MARU, however, has everything in position just to play this out as a more normal game, as Trap going to be dropping down the cybernetics core before that Nexus. It's these kind of small things that you got to look out for, because with the cybernetics core first, it keeps him just a little bit safer, and it also allows him to tech up just a smidge quicker. And again, it's a small thing, but it can be pretty important, especially if you're going up against an aggressive Terran player. Getting that first adept out, getting a stalker or two, and allowing yourself the time to build up a shield battery wall can mean the world versus early rushes. Now we do see MARU going to be just building up that CC. This is a 1-1-1 style as the factory goes on down. And out of Trap, it looks like it's going to be a Twilight Council. Now, there are two big roads that he can take with this. He can obviously take the aggressive route and go for, you know, that blink timing that's really powerful. He can hit a DT cheese that can be very scary if you're not prepared for it. Or he can just use it defensively, which is what we do see a lot of Protoss players just decide to do. So basically what we got to do is we got to watch the amount of gateways he throws down. If he throws down 2 additional gateways, then yeah, it's most likely just going to be a defensive blink with a small hit squad of stalkers coming around to kind of give himself a little bit of map presence, not really meant to do anything other than slow down a push. But if you see about 4 or 5 gateways, then that is when there is so much aggression coming his way. Now we do have a robo facility coming on in, so the potential for a warp prism is still there. On MARU's side of things, he is just gearing up for a bog standard Widowmine drop. Probably going to add on these Marines as well, just to do a little bit of extra damage. One thing that is really kind of scary to deal with is sometimes what you'll see is a Terran player will drop the Marines first and force the probes to kind of go away, retreat, and they clump up really heavily. And then you just put a Widowmine in their path, and then, oh man, it is carnage. But yeah, right now we do see the Observer coming on in. We cut a couple of additional Stalkers. And I think Trap has seen this in enough time to kind of have his guys in position, as the Widowmines do drop. A little bit of a late pull, but it is in time. He does lose a Stalker, though. Not the sloppiest thing. I think he would prefer that than lose his economy. But, yeah, MARU's just going to go home with that medevac. And we're on to our next stage. Raven on the field. Siege tanks. Stim has started up. Trap gonna exhume a little bit of presence out on the map. He does have Blink. Yeah, we're a kind of standard mid-game here. Nothing really too crazy gonna be happening from here on out. We should see MARU probably push out about that time the +1 stim finishes. Trap, however, is going to be adding on those additional gateways. That is 5 additional gateways on 3 bases. That can be a little bit of a problem. Scan going down, getting rid of the Observer. I mean, here's a tip for Protoss players. If you're playing against MARU, don't send your Observer near his base. Now, one thing to note is that Trap is ramping up production really hard on these gateways, and we don't see really any transition behind this. There is no Robo Bay. There is no Templar Archives. He is going full on gateway units, and with the amount that he has built up, that is, like, I don't know if MARU really has the production to kind of hold on versus that. All you're trying to do with this is trade out as Trapped, because if you keep doing that, your opponent isn't going to be able to keep up in terms of that production. Now these Stalkers going to be moving in as the army of MARU going to be moving its way across. Only 1 siege tank here. The Widowmine's getting ready for a drop as well. These Stalkers just trying to get a couple of pickoffs. I think Trap recognizes that he does need to do a little bit of damage, but there are some reinforcements in position to stop that. So now MARU heading towards a nice position, but a very aggressive blink forward. He's going to lose a couple of Stalkers for that. The Guardian Shields will not be enough here. I think MARU should focus fire those down. And he is taking a very nice engagement right there, trading out super efficiently. But being pretty cautious, I gotta say. He does not want to overextend right now. Looks like the Warp Prism might have to recall home. Or better yet, you just keep it there as a threat. And the second MARU moves out again, you just send it in, use those Zealots to pull him back. It's kind of funny because MARU is expecting the Colossus follow-up here. He is started Viking production. Looks like he does get the Warp Prism, though. And he is certainly not wanting to give Trap any additional time as we have this little bit of a run-by. Going to go straight for the third base. Storm is on the field. This is going to be a little bit back and forth for a while. The supplies are relatively equal. If we take a look at that army supply, MARU does have a slight advantage in that regard. But here we go. The Raven dropping an auto turret right in the front. That does have a higher percentage of attack than the Marines and Marauders, I believe. So the Zealots and all the other units will focus on that. But MARU making his way up the ramp. Widowmine's going to make it really difficult for him to gauge into this. The charge. Going to try and bait it back into his army, but no dice. Now Trap needs to hold on to this position. He gets the wraparound, but I don't know. MARU is trading very efficiently here. While he will get cleaned up eventually, the reinforcements might be a little bit too much. The shields on those Immortals going down with some good focus fire. Those will fall. And that is going to be it. So I don't necessarily think that what Trap did was a bad strategy. Overall, we have seen that kind of gateway overwhelm quite a few Terrans in its day. But the problem is he really wasn't able to kind of keep the forward momentum necessary to make it work. Basically, with that strategy, you do need to be trading out. You do need to kind of make sure that your Terran opponent is not able to focus on his production. And Trap just never really able to do that because MARU caught him off guard before he hit that critical mass. Now MARU gonna chase this probe around, just make sure that it does not drop down anything. We have the SCV moving across the map as well. Just gonna look for a little bit of a scout. He wants to confirm the Nexus is there and count the number of pylons. And I think this is the most important scout that you can do at this time. Because at this stage, when the SCV makes it across, you should see about 2 pylons. Potentially a third going down as well by the time the SCV leaves the base. With that, it means that there's not going to be a proxy out on the map. There's not going to be that kind of threat outside your main base. And honestly, this might be a pretty good map for some void rays right there. I've seen it happen a couple of times already. But no, it's just confirmation that MARU can stay safe. Even going to be a little bit greedy here. Dropping down that 3rd CC very, very quickly. He's got to be very careful with that, though, because we do have the Twilight Council once again going on down for Trap. Dev going to be coming on in. Some good little moves there, trying to use the bunker to get the killing blow, but it will survive to live another day. As we do have Blink going to be coming out. I don't really see too many additional gateways, so I don't think this is going to be an aggressive Blink opening, because that additional gateway is very late. But yeah, Trap still has no idea that production is really far behind. We don't even have a factory out for MARU yet either. He's kind of going for what looks to be a 2-1-1 kind of deal right now. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty interesting. Even going to add on the 3rd racks, making it a full-on 3 racks. But yeah, Trap just trying to get as much information as possible. We should be seeing the Observer coming out, but if he sees the fact that it is that 3cc, that's when you kind of pull the trigger as the Protoss player, because you know there's not going to be any supporting tanks. There's no medevacs, so any stim that MARU does is going to crush his army that much sooner. And as we see, Trap kind of just slowly building up, adding on additional gateways as necessary. We don't see a Robo Bay. We don't see a Templar Archives. Again, he's just trying to kind of push the issue with pure gateway. And, I mean, MARU's just a little bit quicker to kind of power up here, so that's not really going to work out too well in your favor. Kind of taking a look here, Trap's not really ahead in terms of that worker count either. Only 47 to 44 off of those 3 bases. Scan going to go down, get rid of the Observer. That's really the first confirmation of what MARU is going for. And instantly, you know, Trap says, okay, now that I know this, I'm going to have a little bit of additional time to kind of tech up. I just need to add on some Zealots, add on some Forges so I don't fall too far behind in terms of upgrades, and just hold on versus these smaller pushes of MARU. Because, yeah, look, still no medevacs with this. I will say this is a very dicey thing for him right now, as those Stalkers are way out of position. Might force the recall, and there it is. And yeah, MARU, he's just going to say, okay, I'm going home. I'm not going to push my luck here. I say that. He's still kind of inching his way out on the map, just trying to exhume some presence. But again, he's not going to overextend with it. He's going to kind of give Trap a little bit of room to drop those additional gateways to get his Colossus production up and running. A little bit of a scan as well. Going to get rid of the Observer so that he can move unabated. And yeah, nothing really too much else to say at this point. Looks like MARU's going to do his first real move out towards the top side, but Trap does see this. I think players have kind of forgotten that Xel'Naga watchtowers exist. It's been a while since they've been in the pool. So, that does tell Trap exactly where to position his army. He's just got to be careful for that Doom drop into the main base. I'm going to send a pretty sizable run by over to this side as he gets the Templar Archives. Good to go. Scan going to go down just looking for the army. Not seeing it at the top means that he is going to try and dive on in here. Another big scan. Colossus doing a little bit of AoE damage there, cleaning up a lot of these Marines in the front. MARU getting caught by those force fields, and he will have to retreat. It looks like Trap's going to say, "Nuh-uh-uh, you want to attack? I'm going to crush through you." And he's going to go for a little bit of a counterattack here. Now, he has no Warp Prism. So if he does decide to go for this, if he does decide to attack, he's not going to be able to reinforce this army. So that could give MARU a little bit of a room to kind of get in there and do some more damage. But now we see it. Instead of a consolidated push, he's going to go for the 1-2 pressure. Even going to be adding on those ship weapons, so maybe going to get some Vikings in there to deal with these Colossi. A little bit late on the Ghost Academy, though. So, no EMPs for quite a bit. Shipping the Marauders forward to tank some of that damage. Looks like he wanted to get the Robo facility, but Trap is on top of things. He's doing a much better job of trading out efficiently. He's not really losing too many units. And as I say that, he loses the 4th base probe. But yeah, he's not really losing that much. He has a lot more splash, a lot more AoE. And it's going to take a pretty good engagement from MARU to kind of deal with it. Taking a look at that army graph. You never want to see this as a Terran player. When it's this even, this late in the game, the Protoss just has a much better army, I want to say. Since it is just pure Marine Marauder for these small pushes. Gonna get a kill on the 4th base here. Nice cancel. As he's just rotating around looking for any additional damage that he can get. Trap gonna have Storm started, staying relatively equal in terms of those upgrades as well. And just adding on more and more Colossi. You know, a lot of Protoss players at this point, they would know that their opponent is going for Vikings, so they will switch into Disruptors. And that's exactly what he decides to do. A 2 at a time here, as MARU going to try and force an engagement, bringing his army together. And slowly inching his way forward. It looks like Trap still thinking an attack is going to be coming from the left side. Will have his Stalkers in position to intercept here. That's a very risky blink forward. He will lose some Stalkers for that. The Colossus a little bit too far forward. One of them will go down. And MARU almost completely maxed out. Doesn't have a ton back at home, so he will have to pull back a couple units to defend these run-bys. fact, it looks like he's going to bring his whole army home. Will get the War Prism, though, so that is a lot of pressure for Trap. Just gonzo. He does have one small run by left. But to his credit, he does have Storm. He does have a lot of choke points. A good concave, though, for MARU at the top of the ramp. The Stalkers blinking right on top of the Medivacs. One Disruptor hit, not going to get anything done. The second one, also just getting one Marauder. It is going to force MARU back, but... like, you're going to need a little bit more there. It looks like he lost a lot of that energy on those High Templar. Yeah, also, Trap is doing a good job of kind of pulling the pressure back. You can kind of see MARU is a little bit hesitant to move forward with the threat of these Zealots hitting him in the rear. I think MARU should try and take another engagement soon. Before Trap really gets up to another critical mass period. Especially now that we do have Disruptors on the field, it's going to be a pretty hard fight. Catching the Zealots in the top, though. That's going to take a little bit of pressure off. And now +3 is just about to finish up. MARU trying to hit the timing. When it happens, EMP's going down. The High Templar, no Storms coming on in. The army on this side is starting to get cleaned up. But that is a lot of units that a Trap does not have over here to defend his 4th base. And so that will go down. An excellent pickoff there for MARU. And now MARU knows that he can just retreat. He is still fully maxed out. He's adding on the Liberators. Getting a +2 ship weapons on those. Those are going to be lethal versus this army of Trap, which is just getting run circles around. You can even see these Disruptors starting to get picked off. He only has these 2 left. One feedback going to go down. The Medivacs don't really have a ton of energy left to their name. But the Archon will not be able to morph on in. The Zealots being forced to stay over there. And Trap, he is getting cleaned up in the top. GG is called. And MARU will take the game. He'll take the series. And he'll take our hearts once again.